Hello, my fire ant friends. So, let's see what's going on with you. You are, of course, in the fire element. And I have been seeing a lot of fireflies lately, which is a card I could get, but it didn't come out. Oh, that's air. Oops, I'm in the wrong section. There it is. Okay. So most of the, I think fireflies are in the air element. Let me check here. Yeah. So fireflies, in spite of their name, are in the air element, where fire ants are in the fire element. Interesting. Okay. Fire ant, aggression, rigid thinking, following orders. Fire ant energy flares up without us noticing. It's the force that attracts us to people and situations that feed our imbalances. So something is drawing you to things that are not good for you. Okay, it's the force that attracts us to people and situations that feed our imbalances rather than those that counter them. Gossiping and blaming are a few indicators that misaligned fire ant energy is at play. You may also find yourself stewing on a person or situation, only making things worse. So you got to break that loop. Okay, how can you break free from the drama and cool down? Fire ants are surprisingly sensitive. Don't pretend the heat isn't getting to you. When in balance, thoughtful and disciplined. When out of balance, argues, excess heat, gossips. To bring into balance, solo time and walks at night, where you can watch the fireflies, right? All right. So you have a few warning signs of what it may be going on with you. And I think it's already set some clear indicators of whether or not this is your reading, but we also have the tea leaf cards here to help you know if this is your reading. So this should be old information, not news, not a surprise. So we have pig, beware of greed, and bowl, plenty of material things. So you are starting off perhaps in a good place, but you want more. And then we have inkpot, problems to be resolved, and bear, danger, especially in money matters. Perhaps your greed is leading you to make poor choices, or has led you to make poor choices. This is something that you would know. Let's see. Owl, good advice from a wise person, and handshake. A meeting with a stranger could be important. So perhaps some sort of mentor, maybe, has come into your life. Could be a relatively new connection, since this says meeting with a stranger. So it looks to me like the wise person is someone that is relatively new to you and very important, at least in terms of giving good advice. Doesn't mean they'll stay in your life for long. It's not always the case. But even someone you have a very brief interaction with can give you really meaningful advice. Now then, let's see what your tarot has to say about why are you here. You came to a tarot reading for a reason, so what is it? King of Wands. King of Wands is brave, is a little bit of a risk taker. I hope you're not a gambler. So they're a good leader. They can be very charismatic, passionate, dedicated to what they believe in, inspired even. They can also be a bit selfish. And as I mentioned, they're brave and willing to take risks. That can be a double-edged sword. And yes, I believe this is you, the viewer. Usually if the first card out is a court card, then I do take that to be the viewer. The fact that you also got the fire ant card suggests that maybe your King of Wands is getting a little out of balance. something is making you go round and round in your head with something, and you need to let go of it and cool down. So yes, being a Wands court card could definitely lead to some hot-headedness, shall we say. Then we have the Page of Swords and the Three of Cups. So the Page of Swords is a student, someone who is eager to learn, very interested in learning, willing to learn, open-minded. Someone who is very interested in information, facts, real facts, not alternative ones. Someone who understands the difference between facts and emotions, which there's a shortage of that these days. But this Three of Cups situation suggests there may be other people involved, other factors involved. I mean, this could be a parent-child connection, honestly. A king and a page, that's definitely potentially parent-child, because there's a big difference in maturity. But we have the Moon card, so maybe some things are coming to light. Some not so pleasant things. What's going on with this Moon? We have the Five of Wands in the uncertainty position. So a bit of a struggle, but we already mentioned that. This could definitely be a mental struggle. We had that come out with the fire ants. Going round and round in the mind over something. Perhaps perhaps this situation, whatever it is. And then we have the Three of Wands. It's pretty much also in the uncertainty position. So, seeing possibilities but not knowing what they are. Possibilities, potentialities, really struggling with these things. Dark thoughts. Secrets coming to light but not sure what is the truth. Oh, there's been a lot of gossip, I think. Now we have the Page of Wands. But again, this is in the uncertainty position. Let's clarify this Page of Wands. Two of Swords and Two of Cups. I'm beginning to wonder if you're more of a Page of Wands. Not really a King of Wands. You give the appearance, perhaps, of a King of Wands. And perhaps you have, chronologically, you are older. But there is a sense of, well, this Two of Cups, this could be a very important connection. It could be a very significant connection. But we have the Two of Swords, this unwillingness to move, choosing to be blind, choosing to be immobile, refusing to make a choice. But here's the Two of Cups, which reminds you not only of the need for balance, but the need for connection. And this connection in particular may be very important. So I'm not seeing that a King of Wands would be in this fire energy, which is one of the reasons I think you may be more of a Page of Wands. Now we have the Fool in reverse, the need to take the leap of faith, but refusing to do so, being afraid, feeling foolish, afraid of looking like a fool. So very concerned with what others think, perhaps with gossip. All in all, a lot of confusion. Okay. Let's see what the universe has to say. So I do think you're very concerned with your reputation, wanting to look like a winner. Success is very much an outward thing for you. Very appearance focused, which is typical of Wands, I think. All right. Anyway, happy beginning, new day, new home, belonging, roots. Wow, okay. Big break, turning point. And also the end. Well, an extraordinary event will definitely lead to death and loss. Not death in necessarily the physical sense, but the death of a situation, a way of life, perhaps a collaboration, a team project. It could be a major opportunity that leads you away from the life that you have led. So we have a new beginning and an ending, which, that's pretty much how it works. It's interesting that the golden ticket came out on top of the trophy. Now we have the Wheel of Destiny, Karma, Dharma, Divine Timing, all of those things. The implication being that it's out of your hands. Success, recognition, whatever you have experienced or are going to experience, you may not have as much control over as you would like to believe, which is usually the case. Because as humans, we love to feel like we're in control. It gives us the illusion of I don't know, safety, security. But it also negates the butterfly effect and divine timing and the crazy, wacky things that happen to us. Okay, so now we have, next to this Wheel of Fortune, we have the owl. Wise, aware, observant, secrets lifted, insights, knows what's going on, explore the unknown. Detour is next. Course disruption, turn of events, which we also had here. Definitely a different path happening here. This could be the Moon card in reverse. Beginning to see through the facade. Becoming more aware. Seeing things that you haven't seen before. Secrets coming to light. Insights. I think you're going through an awakening. Oh, wow. Oh, geez. Sorry. Okay, so you are going... my perspective is that twin flames, divine partners, soul connections, whatever you want to call them, they are a form of awakening. That is their purpose, in my opinion. They're not romantic. There's a great deal of emotion because you need to do a lot of healing in that area, particularly in regard to relationships. So you can do a lot of healing on your own. You can do a lot of self-cultivation, a lot of self-development. Those are all really, really wonderful things. And they will teach you certain lessons. But you learn other lessons from being in relationship with someone else. And that is what will happen with this kind of a connection. All right. So it does seem that you have met someone very significant. You had the Two of Cups in reverse, so it seems you don't have positive feelings about this, which is completely understandable. Maybe you feel like it was... maybe you have come to understand that it is a jackpot of sorts. That, you know, to have an awakening... Awakenings can't be forced. Healing can't be forced. You either do it or you don't. But awakenings in particular, most people experience them as after they hit rock bottom in some fashion. So they're usually associated with a lot of pain. But now we have Archer. Careful aim on target. Implement a strategy. All right, what is this about? What is this about? What is the Archer about? Ring of Keys, change of heart, access, many opportunities, power, freedom, hidden knowledge, multiple choices, in control, transitions, new beginnings. So you're going to have a lot of choices to make. And maybe you already know that this is not romantic. I'm not seeing romance here being a focus for you. Just this success. Changing your life. Wanting to get going. Perhaps you're getting impatient with this whole experience and you'd really just like to move on. There's been illumination, self-discovery, soul spark, creative spark maybe. And now, perhaps, you have a great deal more alignment between your heart and your mind, your heart-mind. Your emotional intelligence has improved, your mindfulness has improved. You're feeling more whole, more integrated than you ever have before. Or you will. That's what you will get out of this. anything else the fireflies need to know? This whole ruminating thing is part of the process. If you can break the loop sooner, it would be a good idea. But it is, healing can't always be rushed. But we have here, what jumped out to me here with the foggy glasses, distorted view, mental fog, willful ignorance. That's what jumped out at me. Willful ignorance. So perhaps you have not resolved your resistance to this experience. You're trying. We have this stable, enduring, solid, restrain, secure, persevere, willpower, long-lasting, persists, and island, isolation, solo time, separation, sometimes lonely, sometimes independent. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Some people think that just because you're alone, you're lonely, and that's simply not true. You can be alone and feel whole and complete on your own. And perhaps that's how you feel. You feel like it's a refuge, it's protected. But I think we will go with the archetype cards for you now. With this fire ant energy, this rumination, there's definitely a loop here you're trying to break. And you are definitely putting some real willpower into it. Well, that's fitting. You got the cave. So yes, to the being alone part. The isolation. Oops. Oh, this is funny. I didn't mean it that way. The comic. Perhaps some lightness of being is needed. Oh, Starborn. I haven't seen that one in a while. I feel like I should get you another card. Usually I stop at 3, but... The Seed. All right. This is a different alignment of cards. So 32, the Cave, which, you know, obviously we're headed in a little bit of a hermit direction here, which with your island card, that's pretty consistent. Okay, the cave, the dark, the portal, the interior. Those who are fortunate enough to find and enter the cave are forever changed. It is a place of potent power, acting both as portal to another realm and a space for sacred ritual and initiation. That's what this is, an initiation. The cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat, where one can see the true self in the darkness. In esoteric teachings, the cave is known to reside in the center of the heart. Within its walls, the whispers of compassion and self-understanding can be heard, yet because of its mystery and power, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. We busy ourselves in the bright lights of the city, while the cavernous and dimly lit chamber calls out to us in the night. Where is your cave? You already know. Return to it and tend the fire. Okay. When light, the sacred center within. When dark, withdrawal, isolation, hiding. Are you lonely or alone? Slowly and steadily, crystals of enormous magnitude grow within the dark confines of caves. Let the cave teach you patience. Envision yourself as an old sage in a cave. What amenities do you need? What draws you ever closer to the cave within the cave? All right, next we have 26, the comic. This is interesting. I don't think I've ever drawn this card for anyone before. Maybe you need to lighten up. The comic, the joker, the clown, the fool. The comic carries a remedy for all that ails this world. Amid the deepest pain and suffering, there is always the potential to lift up and out of the darkness through laughter. Though dismissed by some as lowbrow or unsophisticated, this archetype actually has a highly advanced mind. Some may use the word genius, as humor requires one to see the situation from afar rather than to be swept away by the drama. The comic sees and accepts the messiness of life, using it as material to be mixed and shaped into a potion to soothe the stressed and serious mind. They literally lighten us up. Thus, within the comic is usually the sage or the magician, working healing magic upon any audience who will lend an ear. That's very interesting. It may be that you are meant to help others. I have to tell you, I just saw something online about Patch Adams yesterday, which, as you know, is a very old movie, and for those of you who don't know, it's about the healing power of comedy. The clown. Maybe you should watch it. Okay. The comic may be the archetype that heals the deep division in our world, one pun at a time. I guess punning was the right thing to do. When light, hilarious, ingenious, spirited, easygoing. When dark, sarcastic, harsh, brooding, drunk. Oh, I hope you're not drunk. The comic has plenty of shade to throw on others, and it can fall into shadow at the drop of a hat. Beware of their sharp claws. That is a cat in there, by the way. Joy, jokes, and smiles are signs of a happy heart. Be wary of spiritual practices or teachers who leave the comic by the wayside. I studied with a Taoist priest. Definitely had a lightness of spirit most of the time. A willingness to joke, although I find that to be characteristic of Taoism in general. Anyway, on to 66. The seed, sorry. 66. Here we go. The seed, the beginning, the origin, the pearl. There is a pearl there in the middle. Beginnings come in many forms. They are not always a beautiful seed placed intentionally in nourishing soil. Origin stories, like any birth story, are complex, surprising, multi-layered, and usually reveal a central image or detail that represents the fully formed being. Simply stated, the end is present in the beginning, or the entire oak tree resides within the acorn. Whether you follow this imaginal theory or not, know that when this card appears, there is potent generative energy all around. It stirs your very insides and usually results in an antsy, impatient feeling. You get the comic and now you get a pun about ants. You got the fire ant and now you're feeling antsy. Okay. Pay particular attention to what agitates you, as it is a sure sign of growth to come. You are bumping up against a growth edge. It is from the grit that the pearl eventually comes to be. Okay. When light, generative, fertile, germination, building. When dark, festering, stewing, dormant. I'm definitely getting a little bit of festering and stewing from you. Perhaps this comic will help you with that. One of the alchemist's favorite images was the pearl. The irritant, over time, becomes the treasure. What is your grit? Wow, that must have hit hard. For the right collective, I think that would have hit hard. The true seed is elusive. If we follow any story towards its origin, it spirals farther and farther back in time. In this way, we are always the seed and always the fruit it bears. Interesting. And now we have 3, the starborn. The divine child, the star child, the destined. An elusive yet radiant aspect of the self, the starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of life that arrives with each being at birth. You have a lot of stuff of birth going on here. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than as a series of logistics. Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. I would say don't get too carried away with that. You don't want to get delusional. When light, a light, trusting, vibrant, aimed. Here we go, aimed. Go deeper. Oh, sorry. When dark, feeling of misalignment, loss of longing. Interesting. Have your chart read. Study your constellated shape. Ask questions. What does the process conjure in you? Faith or mistrust? What would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? When this card appears, don't be surprised if you receive a surge of desire for a long-lost dream, one you haven't visited since childhood. Let this desire shake you up. I think this one was more for you than that one. But that's my opinion. It may be that they were both equally meaningful for you. In any case, I do think you need to lighten up a bit. In case you're wondering, the movie Patch Adams featured Robin Williams. So yeah, maybe you need some comedy in your life right now. Don't be afraid to laugh. You shouldn't take things too seriously all the time, especially if you're on this kind of an experience. I am wishing you all the best. Till next time.